Avinu Malkeinu Chadesh Aleinu, our guardian, our protector, grant unto us a good new year. On Rosh Hashana, we sit in judgment of ourselves. Before the tribunal of reason and honesty, the roster of our deeds stand exposed. The reality of our daily lives meets the sharp scrutiny of our ideals. We want to be so much more than we are. We want to be wiser, kinder, more vital, and more confident in the act of living. We want to seize the world zestfully and turn it to some urgent purpose. The valleys of dullness in which we wander threaten the meaningfulness of our lives, and we ache to ascend the peaks of excitement. Time passes too quickly, and the boredom of routine is the terrifying symptom of wasted opportunity. We half live and half fear the future.
Rosh Hashana,
Each of us is capable of an unimagined greatness. Each of us is a treasure house of vital potential. Yet, apprehensive love and inhibited talent pervade the expression of our being. While this day of meditation and prayer awakens us to the truth of what we are, it must also quicken within us the reality of what we can be. Avinu Malkeinu Chamol Aleinu V'Yalol Aleinu V'Tapenu. Our guardian, our protector, have mercy upon us and upon our children. Adam and Eve did eat of the tree of knowledge, giving them godliness, the ability to create. They left Gan Eden, the Garden of Eden, gave up immortal paradise, but gained the godly attribute of creating life. Knowledge produced creativity, and children were born. And the new form of immortality was created, Yizkor. We shall live in the hearts and the memory of our children. Avinu Malkeinu Kale Kotsar Umas Tin Me'aleinu. Our guardian, our protector, cause all hate and oppression to vanish from the earth. Avinu Malkeinu Kale Dever V'cher V'ra'av Me'aleinu. Our guardian, our protector, keep far from our country pestilence, war, and famine. Let's all rise for the Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed. Praised are you, to whom all praise is due, Praised are you to whom all praise is due forever and ever. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, yotzer or uvarei choshech, osei shalom uvarei et hakol. Praised are you, ruler of the worlds, creator of light and darkness, peacemaker and creator of all. Today, on the birthday of the world, we gather to proclaim your greatness and your creation, and to get in touch with our own creative powers, and to unite as a community to review last year and prepare ourselves for the next. The gods we worship write their names on our faces, be sure of that. And a person will worship something, have no doubt of that either. One may think that tribute is paid in secret, in the dark recesses of his or her heart, but it will not. That which dominates imagination and thoughts will determine life and character. Therefore, it behooves us to be careful what we are worshiping, for what we are worshiping, we are becoming. O God, God of creation, order, chaos, light, hear us as a community of Jews all over the world today, praying for a healthy and a good new year. Avinu Malkeinu. Avinu Malkeinu. Avinu Malkeinu. Avinu Malkeinu Shema Kolenu, our guardian, our protector, hear our prayer. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Blessed be God's name forever and ever. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha u'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'adecha. V'hayu hadvarim ha'ela asher anochi mitzavecha hayom ala bavecha. V'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam. V'shiptecha b'beitecha v'u'b'lechtecha v'derech u'b'shachbecha u'v'chomecha. U'kshatam leos al yadecha. V'hayu letotafot beinenecha. U'chtavtom al mezuzot beitecha u'v'sharecha. Lama'an tizkaru va'atita et kol mitzvotai. V'yisem kadoshim l'Elohechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem.
We're here but for a minute. That's all the time that's in it. We're here but for an hour, like a passing shower. We're here but for a day, then we're on our way. We're gone before we're here but for a minute. That's all the time that's in it. We're here but for a week. There's hardly time to speak. We're here but for a year, and nothing's very clear. we're gone before we're here.
In the fullness of time, fruit falls from the vine, and the dreams that you lost, and the stairs that you climbed, and the bridges you crossed are all far behind. In the fullness of time,
We're here but for a minute. That's all the time that's in it.
In the fullness of time. Avinu Malkeinu Chatenu Lefanecha, our guardian, our protector, we have sinned before you. Redemption will not come while senseless hatred rules the earth, and people and heaven hide their faces from each other. Redemption will not come until love comes to rule the earth, and people reveal their faces to each other. Redemption will not come until people mourn the exile of God's presence and yearn for its return. Redemption will not come until people return out of exile from each other, and Isaac and Ishmael, Jacob and Esau, Sarah and Hagar can embrace upon peaceful shores of love. Redemption will not come until we each can pray for the wicked of the world, pray to transform our resentment and hate into deeds of loving concern for them. Redemption will not come until we search out the holy sparks of God, that we have gone astray and wicked people, and bring them back to their true selves. Avinu Malkeinu, our guardian, our protector, we stand before you today. Please hear our prayer, our tefillah. Source of all beginnings, open my lips so that I may begin to sing your praises. Blessed are you, God of mothers Sarah, Rebekah, Rachel, and Leah, and God of our fathers Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, who is great in infinite smallness, mighty in gentleness, and awe-provoking in all your ways. God who showers us with soul-cleansing goodness, poised above all, God is mindful of the loving steadfastness of Israel, and who for greater godliness will someday bring time of true freedom. Guardian who aids, rescues, and protects, blessed are you, protector of Sarah and Abraham.
Mechayim
Where can holiness be found? There is holiness when we strive to be true to the best we know. There is holiness when we are kind to someone who cannot possibly be of service to us. There is holiness when we promote family harmony. There is holiness when we forget what divides us and remember what unites us. There is holiness when we are willing to be laughed at for what we believe in. There is holiness when we love truly and honestly and unselfishly. There is holiness when we remember the lonely and bring cheer into a dark corner. There is holiness when we share our bread, our ideas, our enthusiasm. There is holiness when we gather to pray to God, who gave us the power and understanding for prayer. Holy, holy, holy is the Lord of hosts. All of life is full of God's glory. Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzvaot, Mloko haaretz kevodo.
שלא ייגמר לעולם החול והים רשרוש של המים ברק השמיים תפילת האדם החול והים רשרוש של המים ברק השמיים תפילת האדם אלי אלי שלא ייגמר שלא ייגמר לעולם החול והים רשרוש של המים ברק השמיים תפילת האדם החול והים רשרוש של המים ברק השמיים תפילת האדם.
We might not be wide awake and alert enough to remember all the essential messages of Rosh Hashana. So the sound of the shofar stirs us up. Now we cannot sleep, now we cannot forget. The shofar will awaken us. Its voice will remind us. 3 times we sound the call, as Jews have always done. 3 times we will hear and remember our Jewish teachings. We stand now to thank God for profound teachings of truth as we hear the shofar's blast. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lishmoa kol shofar. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kiyamanu v'higyanu lazman hazeh. We praise you, Lord our God, ruler of the universe, for giving us life, caring for us, and helping us to reach this holy day. Amen. The shofar will be sounded 3 times. Let the first time remind us of the Jewish teaching of peace. The Torah says, nation shall not lift up sword against nation, and shall study war no more. Let us not only think of nations, let us be peaceful in our own lives as well. God, the world's true ruler, asks this of us. Tekiah. Shivarim. Teruah. Tekiah. Let the next notes remind us of the Jewish teaching of justice. The Torah says, justice and only justice shall you pursue. Nations must have justice or people cannot live. And let us once again remember that it all begins with us. We must be fair in our own lives and demand justice for others. All the peoples of the world, our entire society, are our responsibility. God, the world's true judge, asks this of us. Tekiah. Shivarim. Tekiah. And the last notes remind us of the Jewish teaching of freedom. The Torah says, proclaim liberty throughout all the land to all that live there. When our people escaped from slavery, they came to Mount Sinai, and there promised to live by God's laws. They knew that it is a law, freedom for all in the world. May we too live by that law, finding happiness and freedom all the days of our lives. God, the world's true liberator, asks this of us. Tekiah. Teruah. Tekiah Gedolah. Heard that one. Thank you, Jonathan. You may all be seated. The Talmud teaches us that performance of the following deeds brings both immediate gratification and enduring benefits: loving kindness, regular attendance at the home of study, hospitality to strangers, visiting the sick, honoring the dead by attending a funeral, sincerity in prayer, and promoting peace between people. Most important of all, is the study of the Torah, which motivates us to perform these mitzvot. I have to tell my trainer how much exercise I just did. This Torah service has a lot of meaning. On a personal level, on a community level, it has quite a history. Many years ago, we were leading a service at Kibbutz Langdon, which no longer exists, and probably people don't even know about it and have no memory of it. But we were given a little Torah to do our Torah service. And when I got the Torah and I opened it up, it started unraveling. And they didn't teach us what to do in rabbinical school when the Torah unravels. So we took children who were there at the services and had them cross-legged sit across from each other, and we rolled the Torah until we could find the portion that is very important for Rosh Hashana. Many people read this on the second day of Rosh Hashana, but it is so important that we read it today. Well, somebody, often, Rosh Hashanah is around when school starts. Sometimes it's when school starts. And Rosh Hashanah, parents come to drop their kids off. And those that don't have tickets to go to synagogue, and some ended up at at Kibbutz Langdon. And one woman who was there wrote me afterwards and said she was very moved by that, and she would like to get a Torah for the community. And I knew that she had no idea what that called for. She did not know what it meant to hire a scribe for tens of thousands of dollars to, by memory, write a Torah. So I didn't know what to do. And I wrote to Max Tickton, who had been the head of Hillel here in Madison, but then was in Washington the head of all Hillels. Wonderful, wonderful man of blessed memory. And I wrote him and said, how do you suggest I respond to this woman? And he wrote me back and said, there is a rabbi in the southern suburbs of Chicago named Rabbi Frank Rosenthal, my father. And he has become expert at finding martyred Torahs for communities. I was so embarrassed. It never occurred to me to ask my father, because I was on my own, you know. And I contacted Dad, and he told us who to contact. And in fact, we did receive note that all we would need to pay is the shipping. So I wrote this very generous woman and told her we would tell her when it came. And we received word. I was teaching Hebrew at Temple Beth El in Madison. And we got word, we didn't have cell phones and that kind of stuff. We got word from Dane County Airport's, not packages, but freight, thank you, freight, that there was a coffin with my name on it. That's an awesome thing to hear, by the way. And I said, it must be the Torah. So I loaded the kids in my little car. No, I didn't get parental permission. I just loaded them in the car, and we drove out to air freight at the airport, and there indeed was a plain pine box. And I loaded it into the car, and we drove back to Temple Beth El, where Rabbi Swarzensky was, and I told him this whole story, and he came. This was a rabbi who did it all. He not only led services and taught Hebrew and taught brilliant philosophical lessons and sermons, but he also was the person who took care of the synagogue. And so he knew where there was a crowbar. And he went to the plain pine box and opened it. And there was this Torah. Now, I want to tell you that this Torah, for those of you who have had the good fortune to read from it, is an exquisite Torah. First of all, it's huge. The fact that someone carried this into a camp during the Holocaust and probably did not survive themselves, but that this Torah did, is pretty amazing. Little Torahs you can see, maybe you could hide in a coat or something. But this is pretty big. And we know that people studied from it in the barracks at the camp, because as you go through the Torah, you can see various drippings from candles where people were leaning over the Torah to see what they were reading. And you can see a lot of destruction. You know, they were not able to care for it in an ark in a synagogue. But it survived. This Torah was written in 1564 by a scribe named Rav Pinchas, who happens to be the name of my grandfather who wrote Machal Chaim. You don't have to hear that one again. And it is Torah scroll number 1322 of the many that were found and have been dispersed. It was written in the small town of Tavor in the Czech Republic, Czechoslovakia, and it is exquisite. It is not kosher, because, if you care, because it has markings on it, and you know, it hasn't been cared for. But it is a very, very special Torah. What did I forget, Leo?
When you picked up the Torah from freight, did you say a prayer?
Thank you. Okay, another thing they never taught us in rabbinical school was what do you do when you get a Torah from air freight? So my father always taught us, it's always appropriate to say the Shehechianu. So my Hebrew school class and people there, we all said the Shehechianu. And that was our welcoming of this Torah to the community. Did I forget anything else? But that was a good memory. Good going.
I will interject and just say, why did you have to put the Torah on the children's laps?
Thank you. We're not supposed to let the Torah touch the ground. This Torah has touched the ground. But that little Torah that we had that day, that unraveled, I didn't want it to touch the ground, and that's why we put it on the laps of the children. To tell them, it's a way of showing how precious and special this document is, this historical document. And so here we have it. And we read a very special portion. The portion is called the Akedah, or the binding of Isaac. It is a very difficult portion to explain to children. You know, we as parents want to give unconditional love to our children. We want to give stability and make them unafraid. That's our role as parents. But this Torah portion might seem to fly in the face of that as a lesson. So it's a very difficult Torah portion to read and to teach from. So instead of talking about the hard stuff, I want to point out that when something is repeated in the Torah, we're supposed to pay attention. And things are repeated in this portion that we're supposed to pay attention to. There are a few things that are repeated. One is Hineni, which means I am here. And as you will see, it isn't that the all-knowing God in this story doesn't know where Abraham is when he says, Abraham, Abraham. And he's, where are you? And he says, I am here. He knows. He doesn't need GPS. But what does it mean that the answer is, I am here? It isn't, I am geographically here. It is, I am here fully. I am fully present. Talk to me, God. I'm here at your bidding. And it is repeated, as you will see, not just by Abraham answering God, but Abraham answering his son. And it obviously has different meaning then, because this one is supposed to say, son, I'm here, don't worry. The other thing that is repeated is the phrase, and the two of them walked up together. And why are we supposed to pay attention to that? Because that's the binding of Isaac. The two of them walked up together. They walked up the mountain, they left the other kids, and they walked together. That they were bound, yachad, which comes from the same root as one, they are bound together. And so we read this, and we deal with the difficult test that Abraham was put through. And, you know, many people would think, if you're walking around and you think you hear a voice from the heavens that tells you to go and sacrifice your son, that person would be institutionalized. That person would be on meds. But there's a lot of that in the Torah. And so it's a story about higher powers, about trying to explain things that are unexplainable. These are people, as you mentioned, roaming around the desert for 40 years. And they're roaming around the desert, and a lot of things happen in the desert that are unexplainable. And so we put that in the context, and we hope that the children will be able to understand that the binding is the two of them together, and that the repetition of Hineni is a call to action for us to always remember to be totally here. Before I read this, I do want to say that since, I know I found it yesterday. Okay, got it. Since 1995, Stephen Sparrow has built this beautiful ark. And every year, he adds something to the ark. Even last year, during the pandemic, he added the sign of COVID. And this year, he added white bird and a blackbird for those that succumbed to the illness and those that survived. A wonderful piece of history, and I encourage everyone to take a good look at not just his masterpiece, but the amazing meaningfulness that he put into every single piece since 1995. Baruch Adonai Hamvorach, Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Le'olam Va'ed, Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam, Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim, V'natan Lanu Et Torato, Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah, Vayehi Achar HaDavarim Ha'ela, and once upon a time, Elohim nisa et Abraham, and God tested Abraham. Vayomer Alav, God said to him, Abraham. Vayomer, and Abraham said, Hineni. Vayomer, God, to Abraham, Kach na et bincha et yachidcha asher ahavta. Take your son, your only son, the son that you love. This also is very controversial because he had another son, Ishmael, who had been banished with mother Hagar. And so in our liturgy, when we talk about Yitzhak and Ishmael making peace together, that's what we're talking about. Ishmael being the father of the Muslims, and Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and their Sarah, Rebecca, Leah, and Rachel being the 4 generations of Jews. Kachna et bincha et yechika asher ahavta et Yitzchak. V'lech lecha la'eretz ha'Moriah, and go to the land of Moriah. V'ha'alehu sham la'olah al achad ha'arim, and make an offering there on one of the mountains. Asher amar lo ha'Elohim, that God will show you. V'yashkom Avraham baboker, and he rose up in the morning, v'yachavosh et hamoro, and he prepared his, what's another word for ass? The animal, donkey, thank you. V'yakav et shnei na'arav, and he took 2 young boys with him, ito, v'et Yitzchak beno, and Isaac his son, V'yavaka atzei Allah v'yakom elav al hamizbach asher amar lo ha'Elohim. And he brought the wood and the makings for the sacrifice. Bayom hashlishi, and on the 3rd day, v'ya'as Avraham et einav, and he raised his eyes, v'yar et hamakom merachok, and he saw the place from afar. Vayomer Abraham al na'arav, and he says to those 2 boys, Shvu lechem po, you guys stay here. Im hachamor, with the donkey. Va'ani v'hana'ar ne'elcha ad ko, v'nishtachava v'neshuva aleichem. And we will go up there and we will pray and we will come back. Vayakach Abraham et Eitzah ha'olah v'yisam al Yitzchak beno, and he put the wood on his son Isaac. V'yakach biado et ha'esh, and he put in his hand the fire. They didn't have matches. They rubbed stuff together to make a fire. V'ha'ma'achelet, and a knife. V'yelchu shnehem yachtav, and the two of them walked up together. V'yomer Yitzchak to Abraham, his father, V'yomer aviv, but dad, V'yomer hineni, I'm here, my son. V'yomer hine haseh v'ha'etzim v'ayeh haseh le'olam, and where's the sheep for the sacrifice? V'yomer Abraham Elohim yireh lo haseh, God will provide the sheep for sacrifice, my dear son. V'yelchu shnehem yachdav, and the two of them went up together. V'yavo el hamachom asher amar lo Elohim, they got to the place that God told them. V'yaven sam Abraham et hamizbeach, v'yaroch et Yitzchak, and he bound Isaac to the mizbeach, to the place where the sacrifice was going to happen. V'yakod et Yitzchak beno, v'yasam ito el hamizbeach, and he took in his hand his knife from under the wood. V'yishlach Abraham et yado, and he raised his hand, v'yikach et ma'achelet lishchot et beno, and he raised the knife to slaughter his son. V'yikra alav malach Adonai, and from above came the sound of an angel. And the angel said, I've got to find my place. Lishchot et beno. V'yikra elav malach Adonai min hashamayim, and an angel from the heavens said, V'yomer Abraham, Abraham, and the angel said, Abraham, Abraham, and what do you think Abraham answered? Hineni. V'yomer al tislach yadei al hana'ar, v'al taseh lo me'umah. Do not sacrifice him. Do nothing to harm him. Ki ata yadati ki yireh Elohim, v'ata lo tishlach et beno et yachidcha mimeni. Because you were tested and you showed that you believed in God and that God would make this a happy ending. Baruch Adonai HaMbarach, Baruch Adonai HaMbarach, Le'olam Va'ed, Baruch Atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Asher natan lanu Torah emet, B'chaye olam nota b'tachenu, Baruch Atah Adonai, Noten HaTorah. Okay. I'm having trouble here. If you can, squeeze it. Thank you. You do it as well as the kids.
You will. I've been watching for 40 years. I've seen how they do it.
It's a Abraham, and Abraham said, Hineni, I'm here. And Abraham said, God. And God said, I'm here. And Abraham said, where? Where are you? Whether God's question is addressed to Adam or to some other person, God does not expect to learn something God does not know. Adam hid himself to avoid rendering accounts, to escape responsibility for his way of living. Every person hides for this purpose. For every person is Adam or Eve and finds him or herself in their situation. To escape responsibility for our life, we turn existence into a system of hideouts. And in this hiding again and again from the face of God, we enmesh ourselves more and more deeply in perversity. A new situation thus arises, which becomes more questionable every day with every new hideout. We cannot escape the eye of God, but in trying to hide from God, we are hiding from ourselves. True, in us there is also something that seeks God, but we make it harder and harder for that something to find God. Adam finally faces the voice, perceives his enmeshment, and avows, I hid myself. This is the beginning of our way. The decisive heart searching is the beginning of the way in our life. It is again and again the beginning of a human way. Most theories of religion start out with defining the religious situation as people's search for God and maintain the axiom that God is silent, hidden, and unconcerned with that search for God. However, the Bible speaks not only of man and women's search for God, but also of God's search for man and for women. This is the mysterious paradox of biblical faith. God is pursuing us. It is as if God were willing to be alone and God had chosen us to serve him or her. Our seeking God is not only our, but also God's concern. We must not be considered an exclusively human affair. God's will is involved in our yearnings. All of human history, as described in the Bible, may be summarized in one phrase: God is in search of us. Faith in God is a response to God's question. Take care of your own soul and of another person's body, not of your own body and another person's soul. What is an offering to God? Charity to God's children. May we see the day when war and bloodshed cease, when a great and wondrous peace embraces the world, when not a nation shall not threaten another, and we shall not again experience war. Bless us, O God, with peace. We are greedy for gain, pursuing profit while soldiers pursue each other far away. Nations squander their young lives on a spree. Even Abraham was stopped. He did not sacrifice his son. Help us to seek peace, O Lord, and to pursue it. Hungry children starve our souls. Naked children expose us. Slaughtered children kill our hopes. We are wretched in their parents' sorrow. Heal us, O God. Help us to turn to each other. Let us make no peace with hunger and oppression. Let us make no peace with hatred or fear. Let love and justice flow like a mighty stream. Let peace fill the earth as the waters fill the sea. Let the curses of the old year end, and may the blessings of the new year begin. Amen. Amen. Let's rise for the Amida. Let us adore the ever-loving God and render praise unto God, we bow the head in reverence and worship the ruler of rulers, the Holy One, praised be God. V'anachnu korim u'mishtachavim u'modim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu v'ne'emar v'chaya Adonai l'melech al kol ha'aretz bayom hahu yiyeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad. Be seated. Life's a lesson.
Life's a lesson, you can fail it, you can set your spirit free or jail it, but setting it free is no guarantee it's gonna fly when you sail it. The object is to ride it, but setting it free while you're sitting astride it isn't easy, and you can learn a lot by going crazy. You can fail it. You can set your spirit free or jail it, but setting it free is no guarantee it's gonna fly when you sail it. And if you feel like you're in prison, no one is coming to talk or to listen, take it easy. Know that no one ever has it easy now. Take it easy, 'cause you'll never learn to fly by freezing now. Life's a lesson you can pass or fail.
Birth is a beginning and death is a destination, but life is a journey, a going, a growing from stage to stage, from childhood to maturity, from youth to age, from innocence to awareness, from ignorance to knowing, from foolishness to discretion, and then perhaps to wisdom, from weakness to strength, or strength to weakness, and often back again. From health to sickness and back, we pray to health again. From offense to forgiveness, from loneliness to love, from joy to gratitude, from pain to compassion, from grief to understanding, from fear to faith, from defeat to defeat to defeat, until looking backward or ahead, we see that victory lies not at some high point along the way, but in having made the journey stage by stage, a sacred pilgrimage. Birth is a beginning and death a destination, but life is a journey, a sacred pilgrimage, made stage by stage to life everlasting. Please rise for the Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah. Bialma divrach v'utei v'yamich machutei. B'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chaye dekol Beit Yisrael. Ba'agola uvizman kari v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabba mavorach le'olam omei amaya. Yitbarak v'yishtabak v'yitba'ar v'yitraman v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitalel v'yitalal shemei dekudashah b'rihu. Le'olam min kol birchata v'shirata, tush bechata v'nechemata. Da'amiran bi'alma v'imro amen. Yehi shlama rama min shemaya v'chayim. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imro amen. Osei shalom b'imramav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. If you always assume the person next to you is the Messiah looking for some human kindness, you will soon come to weigh your words and watch your hands. And if he or she chooses not to reveal him or herself in your days, it doesn't matter. Avinu Malkeinu, Shema Kol. Our guardian, our protector, grant us a new year. At this season of the year, our ancestors always wished one another a Shana Tova, a good year. We usually wish each other Happy New Year. They emphasized the thought that life's central quest was for goodness, for uprightness. With us, the accent falls on the pursuit of pleasure. Even the way we refer to the days of Rosh Hashana and Yom Kippur reveals a decisive difference in attitude. We close our shops or absent ourselves from businesses or classes on account of the Jewish holy days. To them, they were Jewish holy days, days of awe and trepidation. There is a world of difference between a holiday and a holy day. On holidays, we run from duties. On holy days, we should face up to them. On holidays, we seek to let ourselves go. On holy days, we should try to get ourselves together. On holidays, we try to empty our minds. On holy days, we should attempt to replenish our spirit. On holidays, we reach out for things we want. On holy days, we reach up for the things we need. Holidays bring a change of scene. Holy days bring a change of heart. Oh, say shalom b'ramav. Uya say shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol Yisrael. Ve'imru amen. Ya'aseh shalom. Ya'aseh shalom. Shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom. Ya'aseh shalom. Shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom. Ya'aseh shalom. Shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom. Ya'aseh shalom. Shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol Yisrael. Shana Tova.